Welcome to our November, aka American Canadian Thanksgiving edition of EngRes The Gathering. For folks who are here for the first time, this is our agenda. We'll do project updates, spotlights, demos, and then we'll close out. Oh yeah, if you want to follow along, grab the slides, add comments and questions to folks, click on any of the links. It's right there. You can grab a picture from the QR code. As a reminder, this is a gathering across the Protocol Labs network of 600 plus companies where we drive breakthroughs in computing to push humanity forward. We work across the R&D pipeline. So lots of projects that are in the early stages of research, gathering new intel and information, which then crosses this research to development chasm and helps scale into large scale open source projects. And we are working on making that pipeline easier and easier to cross for more and more teams across the network. What we do here in this working group is try to percolate information that's useful and interesting for engineering and research teams to help drive these breakthroughs across the network. So we are a venue for sharing some of the latest breakthroughs, supporting network native research and development work so that we're all aware of the exciting breakthroughs that are happening, and overall growing OSS projects, networks, and communities. Couple of recent and upcoming launches to highlight. The FIL-RetroPGF Round 2 is officially in Badgeholder voting. We'll hear more about that from Ankar in a little bit. Huge congrats to Akave and Randomoo for announcing their most recent fundraising rounds. Both of those super impressive, so congratulations. We'll hear a brief update on Filecoin Network version 24, which is the Tuk upgrade, which is launched and in active testing and hardening. We'll hear an update from Secured Finance on launching USDFC, which is very exciting, a new Filecoin-backed stablecoin. And then we'll hear some updates on all of the amazing progress and events that happened in Thailand over the last couple of weeks. Lab Week, DevCon, and tens, maybe even, 50s of other events, thousands of attendees, a really, really amazing turnout. Looking forward, we're working on getting the Filecoin proof of data possession smart contract, which allows proving and monitoring a hot copy of data in the Filecoin network. It's our first hot copy proof. Very exciting. Also, a lot of new progress from Strata, Akave, and Basin, progressively onboarding more clients as Filecoin L2s. We'll be hearing more from Secure Finance about testing plans and ways that we can get involved in hardening, testing, and securing USDFC and applying it across the network. In terms of events, we have Foresight Vision Weekend, which is coming up, which is a great gathering for folks that are looking at deep breakthroughs in computing, from neurotech to nanotech to pretty much if it has tech in the name, there's some really cool breakthrough work happening around it. That'll be in SF in December. And then Phil Bangalore is also coming up at the same time. So we have to make hard choices, SF or India. And that'll be part of the ETH India Hackathon, which is happening that weekend. So you can continue to check out those events on the plnetwork.io page, which has also our directory and all sorts of other stuff. One that we didn't mention is also Taipei Blockchain Week, which is happening kind of right before the December holidays. It's going to be great. With that, I will hand it over to project updates, starting with Dave from libp2p.
Thanks, Molly. libp2p is a modular network stack for peer-to-peer protocols. It is likely deep in the stack of whatever you're working on. This is a quick and dirty update. We had a pretty strong presence in Bangkok. I was extremely happy about it. We threw a libp2p day on the 12th. I was panicking a bit because I didn't limit the number of people who could sign up, and we had close to 1,000 people sign up. But you know what? Turns out that's just how DevCon is. We had a strong cohort of about 70 throughout the day, which is pretty typical. It wasn't the big, I think it was the biggest one we've seen all year. Denver was right about there. We had tons of great content that will be up on our YouTube channel very soon. And I wanted to personally thank Juan for showing up to do a great keynote, which I encourage everybody to watch when it's up. We really branched out this time. We had presence in lots of different events. We had a workshop at the DeFi Security Summit on building protocols in JS custom protocols in JS libp2p. The message there being browsers can now talk directly to your blockchain. They don't have to go through APIs, and increasing decentralization. Let's see, we were on panels at the Waku event. We were at panels at Phil Dev Summit about the future of open source. pop-ups at DevCon. I think there was even an impromptu libp2p meeting at Ag Summit, of all places. So we had a strong showing trying to get out of our normal PLN shell and reach out to a lot more people. The community calendar update this week, it's a little janky. I forgot to update the graphic there, but the Python libp2p meeting happened today. The PLDG cohort is crushing it. We have 4 developers working hard on Python libp2p. We've brought this project back this year. Full implementations of the identifier protocol are going in. I think there's even someone working on a quick transport in there. So we're getting really close to coming up to parity with a lot of the main libp2p implementations, and we're not hiding the fact that this is very important for integrating into AI workflows, specifically Python workbooks, Hugging Face, a lot of that kind of stuff. There's a lot of energy driving that. And then the last thing I want to say is we're looking forward to Denver. I think there's going to be some very exciting announcements around libp2p in Denver, specifically around scaling Gossip Sub. I am aware of at least one project which should excite everybody. I'm not sure I can divulge all the secrets, but we're looking at pushing Gossip Sub to scales of millions of peers, possibly 10 millions of peers, which would be 3 to 30 times larger than our current largest Gossip Sub network. There's research going on at least the University of Utah and several other places, and the application is going to blow everybody's mind. It's going to be a huge public good that I think will benefit the entire Web3 ecosystem. So stay tuned, and if you want to know more, come find me and I can tell you what I know. And that's it, I guess. Back to you, Molly.
Awesome. And over to Dennis from Probelab. Lots of measuring of libp2p.
Exactly. Hi, everyone. This is Dennis from Probelab. Probelab is doing network measurements. And as many know, we are continuously measuring or monitoring the IPFS network. And what we've recently seen is that the Amino DHT client nodes have gone up from around 200,000 per week to about over 3.5 million per week. And we are still investigating what's going on there. But next to IPFS, we're also measuring several other different networks. You can see all these logos on the bottom left. And over the past, 10 days or so, the team has also been in Bangkok, and we have attended DEF CON as well as a myriad of other events where we have talked where we have talked with several of our customers and also the wider community. We've given 2 talks at DEF CON itself. You can see the logos there, or the listings there. We've talked about our measurement tools and also the metrics that we can gather with these measurement tools. And 2 of the most recent ones I've put at the bottom. So one of them is ANS. We call it ANS. ANS is a tool which can not only, which can indeed measure DHT client nodes. Previously, we've only had visibility into servers, but now we can also see clients nodes, and we've deployed it for the Celestia network, and we are gathering numbers on light node population there. Numbers will soon be available at probelab.io. The other tool is a bandwidth measurement tool, and this was very important for the Ethereum ecosystem because the bandwidth availability in the network would inform, or numbers of on the bandwidth availability would inform blob count and also blob size, which is very relevant for all the data availability sampling that's all the hype around this. But we've not only been at DEF CON, but also at the Web3 Evolution Summit and libp2p Day, so 2 other events out of the PLN. And we've also learned that many teams outside of our current customer base are very interested in our data. And so we are developing an API to allow access. And if you want to have early access to this API, reach out to us at team@probelab.io. Yeah, and that's it.
Awesome. Super cool. And I know both the work of Probelab and libp2p is super important, especially thanks to all of the new DevCon updates around, hey, what might a beam chain do in terms of dependency on clients and other things like that. Super cool. Awesome. Over to Mosh on IPFS.
Hey everyone, welcome to the IPFS update. We are the data and content stack for Web3 and beyond, built on a foundation of content addressing that lets you do many, many things decentralized and and open with these building blocks of data. Just a quick update on our progress for our Q4 goals, and then also some of the more recent changes in the past month. So slice A is adoption, gaining market share of total internet traffic. Blue sky, every time I go to update the number, it's out of date. So maybe it's 21 million users now. I don't know. Companies like DocChain are using IPFS to issue verifiable documents that have real world consequences in banking, medicine, and finance. We have, many new apps being built and launched on IPFS every day, but two I want to highlight are DPaint, which is an AI image generator that's orders of magnitude faster and cheaper than what exists today. Everything gets a CID and you can trace its lineage. They're in private alpha. They've signed 2 enterprise customers. This is probably the fastest. They basically signed customers before they had a product name, and really looking forward to seeing that grow. Another one I want to give a shout out to Fireproof, which is a local first IPLD-based database founded by Jay Kurz, who many of you are familiar with from Web3 storage days. But they just did a big launch on Hacker News and are doing a push. What's really cool about this is basically you choose the database first, and then it syncs to any remote storage, Web 2, Web 3, etc. So it just kind of shortcuts the developer decision and setup time to build new apps. On the building block slice, so pushing IPFS to evolve towards more modular components that can solve real user and dev needs. The highlights recently are just making a little more progress on the CID discussion. We're going to have a CID Congress number 1 on December 5th. It's virtual. We're going to discuss a forthcoming proposal with the goal of getting to CID determinism and leaner libraries. I'll share the Luma link. If you work with or have implemented CIDs, it would be really fantastic to have you there. We also had a presence in Bangkok with a great IPFS Bangkok event, and also presence at other events throughout DevCon. I think the big takeaway there is that, people in the Ethereum community keep asking for apps, and the IPFS community has a lot of, probably I think the biggest cluster of real world large scale apps in the game. So excited to be showcasing that more at ETH and other events as well. On the public network front, so working towards making IPFS available to any user without having to install weird plugins or whatever. Kubo now supports auto TLS. You can enable it in config. It's going to become default on sometime in the future. But this is basically, checking off more and more of the transports available from browsers, and check it out.
And I'll turn it over to Kasey for the Iroh update. Also some very impressive numbers.
Hi, folks. Thanks for having me. B5 Senses Best. If you don't know me, my name is Kasey, also Ramfox on the internet. I'm an engineer at Number Zero. We work on Iroh. I'm really pumped to give you this update. There's been some exciting stuff happening with Iroh in the last month. We're working with this company called Rave. They are a shared video streaming app. They have, this is just in the Android App Store, but they have 50 million plus downloads on the Android App Store. They ran some tests using our public infrastructure, and it meant that in the last 30 days, we facilitated almost 8 million connections, peaking at 115K simultaneous connections. So something like 200K nodes trying to talk to each other at once. This was a wonderful test of our public infrastructure. It made us take a real hard look at the memory usage on our relays. The relays are the infrastructure that Iroh uses to facilitate hole punching. So any connection that you make with Iroh will attempt to do hole punching through these relays. We got the relay memory usage down so much after learning through this experience that the overhead on our relays is something like 100 kilobytes per connection, and that's on the max side. We have to do more load testing, but that's actually a high estimate. So we estimate that we can do about 1 million simultaneous connections using just one of our relays. Right now we have 3 relays, and we run them at under $1,000, around $1,000 a month total. So this, obviously, we can only get these numbers because the vast majority of the connections here hole punch. If they don't hole punch, then the relay is used as like a packet relay to get those connections to talk to each other. The takeaway from this use case, this experience is, hey, we've seen usage from a popular app with millions of users. We've learned some great lessons, and also we now have some like proven production traffic on our infrastructure. Speaking about production usage, there's also something exciting. One of our partners, Delta Chat, has just launched real-time P2P networking in their app powered by Iroh. I will link the blog in chat where they talk about exactly what that means for them. But Iroh is powering what they call Web XDC, which is a platform for building apps that work in chat for them. So examples include real-time text editing, some games, this like really cute pixel. You'll see it in the blog if you take a look, but this really cute pixel app where you can like paint and the other side gets the pixels that you painted. If you want to like try out peer-to-peer connections with Iroh with a real use case, if you download the latest version of the Delta Chat app and get into one of these, what they call like real-time messaging chats, then you will be using connections facilitated by Iroh. So it was a pretty fun month for us. We're now running on millions of devices, including desktop, iOS, and Android. And that's the update. Thank you.
Awesome. Congrats, Kasey. Very, very exciting and awesome to see these users of Iroh being so successful and really putting it through its paces. Well, over to our Filecoin update. As a reminder, Filecoin is a crypto-powered storage network aiming to create a decentralized, efficient, and robust foundation for humanity's information. Some updates on roadmap and focus areas. We've seen a lot of amazing things launch over the past couple of weeks. Kave, Storacha, DStore's S3 interface, all are live and working with new users. We also have some other cool work that is still slated around the storage adoption track to round out 2024. So we'll get an update from Basin on what they're doing, and some other work that's more focused on Web 2 to Web 3 bridging and on-ramps that are coming in the storage adoption side. On the Web3 tooling side, we'll get a quick update on where we are with fast finality and the final load testing that will be happening now that NV24 is launched. We also have a number of cross-chain smart contracts that have been landing that do things like data onboarding, data aggregation, cross-chain payments using payment currencies from other chains to pay for storage. Really, really cool. The Phil Builders team, Philby, has done a lot of work to package that up into the Phil frame and enable a lot of people at the ETH Bangkok hackathon last week to build with and on that, which is super cool. So you have groups deploying to Base and then storing their data on Filecoin. Pretty awesome. And we're also getting proof of data possession is already live in Calibration Net and will be going live to Mainnet very shortly, which is a new hot storage primitive on L1. And a lot of work for 2025 is gearing up around this umbrella that we're calling Filecoin Web Services, or FWS, which is really about enabling the Filecoin layer one chain to understand client needs from kind of the different metrics or indicators that they need their storage providers to be meeting, and then being able to monitor and enforce those data requirements, which is going to be a big tool for ensuring that as a Web3 storage network and marketplace, we're able to make it really easy for clients to onboard onto Filecoin and ensure that what they care about will be monitored and enforced. On the growth side, tons of things from last week. We had a really successful FIL-Dev Summit and Hacker House in Thailand. We've seen a lot of groups launching as backends, helping like CID Gravity, working with Nextcloud. If you don't already have Nextcloud, it's super easy to use. Would recommend downloading it. Rambo is, ramping up and onboarding more and more data on Filecoin. Curio is doing great work with SuperSeal and having a much simpler storage provider stack that is more efficient and cheaper for storage providers to run. We are in the midst of our FIL RetroPGF round 2 that is rewarding and recognizing even more public goods contributions in the Filecoin ecosystem. And last but not least, we'll get a great update from Secured Finance on the new FIL-backed USD pegged stablecoin, USDFC. One of the things we talked about at our gatherings over the past couple of weeks is setting some goals for 2025. These are still tentative and work in progress. We'll be workshopping them over the next couple of weeks, but want to direct and focus some of our collective Filecoin community attention for 2025 against making sure we have many very happy clients of Filecoin. We're driving revenue from paid storage deals on the Filecoin L1, and we're growing in-network activity across the Filecoin economy, a lot thanks to stablecoins, but also thanks to all of the applications building in this space. Keep an eye out. We'll be publishing some more around it, but would love to hand off to Orion to give us an update on NV24 from yesterday.
Thank you, Molly. We had a very successful NV24 upgrade yesterday. So Tuk is now live on Mainnet, and we are currently in the process of verifying that all the FIPS behaves as expected, and we'll finish off that by tomorrow or early next week. I just want to thank everyone that has been a part of this network upgrade. It takes a large amount of effort between a lot of different teams, and of course a large amount of upgrade and testing across RPC providers, exchanges, clients, and storage providers. So it takes a lot of people to make this successful. I'll give a short update on F3 as well. F3 was supposed to be activated a little bit after the NV24 upgrade, but due to some issues during calibration testing, that has been postponed for a little bit, and we'll come with an update on that shortly. But those two issues have now been resolved, and the system has been operational for 5 days straight, and it's finalizing tipsets super fast on calibration network. So if you want to test that out and see how that works, go check out the calibration network. We have also published a public F3 dashboard so that people can see CPU usage, memory usage, and bandwidth usage on a node that is running with F3 on.
Thanks so much, Orion, and definitely good flag of what folks can monitor now that NV24 is live, and we can collect some of that mainnet data on the fixes to those calibration issues that we'd identified and make sure everything is hunky-dory and good for an early 2025 upgrade. Elsa, tell us about the fantastic FDS that happened in Bangkok.
Yes. So we had a great week in Bangkok at FDS 5. There were over 200 attendees that joined us, which is so exciting to hear and see. We had over 14 tracks. So thank you to all of our track leads that took the time to curate amazing talks. You can find these talks on the Filecoin YouTube. I linked the playlist in the chat. And would like to say thank you to our sponsors. It was PLFIF, Filecoin Foundation, ZetaCube, Boosty Labs, Lighthouse, Leak, Secured Finance, and Glyph, as well as thank you to all the teams that were a part of planning and executing this event. It was Phil Oz and, of course, Valentina on the ONZA research team and my colleagues at Filecoin Foundation. We'd love to get feedback from y'all on where and when you think the next FDS should be. So please fill out that type form I linked in the chat. But that's it on FDS. Oh, and Phil Bangkok. Let me get my links and I'll drop in the chat. So right after FDS, Filecoin Foundation hosted Phil Bangkok DPIN Meets AI. This was in partnership with CoinDesk Studios. We had over 250 attendees in real life, but across CoinDesk platforms, we had over 800,000 total reach on their website, YouTube, and Twitter, and then over 700,000 live stream views. And on our main stage, we had 4 announcements, which includes Filecoin ecosystem teams, Akave and Sriracha. I linked their announcements in the chat, but very exciting. And huge shout out to our sponsors for this event, which was also the same ones at FDS, but PLFIF, Zeta Cutes, BC Labs, Hippocrat, Glyph, Lighthouse Fleet, and Ceramic. That is it for me.
Awesome. And I know there'll be lots of post-processing of all of the amazing takeaways to make it consumable and accessible. So check that out in upcoming Filecoin newses and elsewhere. Amazing. Now over to Dan to give us the Textile Basin update.
Just quick on Basin. It's a data L2 on Filecoin built on top of the IPC framework. It also uses Iroh, we talked earlier, for a lot of the storage pieces within the protocol. So quick updates, but our testnet is now live. We soft launched it back in the summer, pulled things back. We're working closely with IPC to get some things into this new version. So we've officially launched that. It's still more like a closed beta. So if you're interested in testing it out, reach out to our team. I dropped my email in there, so just feel free to shoot me an email. But right now it's in this phase where we're resetting things every couple of weeks in terms of chain state. So it's more about trying to get some early adopters, test out the protocol. So if you are someone that's using S3 today, reach out to us because Space3 is S3 compatible. So it's kind of like a swap out in a sense with just if you're using S3 APIs, or if you're doing things with maybe it's a data pipeline that adds short-lived data because the nature of the resets, it might make sense for something that doesn't need to be around for longer than a couple of weeks, but maybe hours or days. Or if you're just interested in helping us out, we really appreciate it. So again, reach out to me if you're interested in checking out the new testnet, and then over time we'll make things more stable, so we won't have these resets just in this initial launch phase. And then as part of this, we also launched a Basin Studio application. So it's pretty basic right now, but it allows you to do some SQL operations like creating buckets or listing your buckets, inspecting data that you push those buckets with things like our CLI or our SDK. And it implements this novel credit mechanism that we add to the protocol, which basically allows you to pay for storage and have access controls on multi-write sites and things like that. So yeah, again, emails there if you are interested in testing it, and we appreciate the time.
Awesome. Congratulations. I clearly need to update the our roadmap on having this testnet live and accessible. That's super amazing. Congratulations. And we'll send some folks your direction for even more intense testing. I was curious, question in the chat to follow up on whether or not those test users can ensure their data is persisting even across those hard resets.
Yeah, right now everything's kind of just in our little realm, so nothing will be persisted. A feature that we're adding in the future is not part of the protocol yet is actually also the archival piece to L1. So right now everything's just on calibration. It's in just the L2 space. So we haven't built that archival piece yet. So yeah, that's the challenge right now is if you push data, it will disappear. Over time, we'll make it more persistent within the L2, and then after that is actually the archival piece to follow.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Great context. We'll find you some early testers. All right, on to our spotlights. Starting with secured finance. Masa, take it away.
Hi everyone. I'm Masa. Let me update for November from secured finance. We attended Bangkok events, Hacker House, and Dev Summit in Bangkok. And the biggest announcement is we made official announcement that we went live on USDFC on calibration net. And you can come to usdfc.secure.finance and you can play around. And I just copy and paste the screenshot, and it's quite amazing. Basically, you can bring just Filecoin and immediately get USDFC, no matter how big size. There's no need to provide liquidity on the US dollar because it's synthetic. So I think it's so cool, and it helped the liquidity problem and bring stability to storage provider business. And yeah, that's great. And also after minting a USDFC, you can bring this USDFC to our lending market. And this lending market, at the same time of the mainnet launch of stablecoin, we're going to launch the lending market for the USDFC. So that if you mint and you can invest in the fixed income market for continuous fixed returns. So in this way, we can take IFIL or PFIL as a collateral, and then they can start to borrow USDFC. In this way, we can provide more utility to the liquid staking tokens. So in this way, we can grow together and maybe grow the DeFi ecosystem. So maybe you can take a look at our documentation page and there are FAQs. And we want to increase the list of questions, frequently asked questions. So happy to take any questions, any basic questions, and we can make a list of FAQs so that we can be more educatable. So Mainnet, we are currently starting to plan for the security audits multiple times, and also we are starting to work with crypto econ labs for risk assessments, so that every people in the ecosystem feel comfortable using USDFC and hold USDFC. So it just started. We're gonna plan for the mainnet launch and scheduled on Q1 next year. So testing, auditing plan for community version, and we want to plan for that. Also we're seeking for some kind of economic researchers. We're looking for a third party, more neutral position view of, let's say, like a Filecoin GDP, something, so that we can we can provide a fair value assessment for why stablecoin can bring more stability and what is more economic impact, so that it's not considered to be the enticing the people to buy, right? So we cannot say this. Maybe we can say, but it's better to have the neutral point of device. So and thank you for the Falcon TLDR for creating a post, like a tweet thread. And within that, there's a more long announcement of the Medium article. And if you're interested, please take a look at the post. So I think that's the update.
Awesome. Well, definitely for folks in this group, Masa, treat us as guinea pigs to be trying things out while we're in calibration, measuring, figuring out what we can be improving and hardening proactively to stress test this as a community in a safe environment. Super exciting. Okay, next update. Onkar, tell us about the current 4 more days we have left in this round 2 of Filecoin RetroPGF.
Will do, Molly. Hey everyone, my name is Onkar. I'm part of the FIL RetroPGF operations team. As Molly mentioned, 4 more days to go. We'll be closing voting for now, at least, on the 25th of November. Badgeholders, as part of round 2, instead of allocating 100 votes, will be allocating 270k FIL with a max of 40k per project per badge holder to be allocated. And we've upped the quorum to 6 badge holders. So at least 6 badge holders need to vote a non-zero sum on a project for it to receive funding in the first place. And we've identified some nice high impact themes using the round funders, BL, FF, and Global Holon, who've kind of let us know that they're interested in seeing projects that have done on-chain payment work, data on ramps, or even connected Filecoin with other networks, or brought in new connections from other networks. Something that is interesting for those who are not badge holders is our experiments with Futarchy, where the community is actually involved in identifying the so-called top 10 or bottom 10 projects that they feel have made the highest or the lowest impact. And then that way, helping badge holders make their decisions just a bit faster, just a bit easier, and give them some insights into the projects that might deserve a second look. I've just posted a link in the chat that has a thread where our supporting team for Futarchy and the FIL RetroPGF project, which is Gitcoin, have listed very nicely what's expected of the community. And I think for the first-time voters, you get a bit of free money, so you can play around with the markets and see what happens in that case. As a final reminder for all our badge holders, 4 days left. If you've not already submitted it, please do share your wallet wallet addresses on the Telegram group. And I think I see a few of those badge holders in this call, so hopefully they take the warning. And if there are any other questions, do get in touch with us. And we are looking forward to seeing some very exciting projects being funded.
Woohoo! Thanks,
Yeah.
Onkar. Definitely keep us updated on like number of badge holders who have voted, so we can collectively, as a community, rope down folks who might not be aware, especially since some folks are out on holiday next week. Okay, over to our deep dives, starting with PLDG. Hey everyone, it's Katie here with PLDG. I'm going to drop a bunch of links for folks that are going to come up. So just so you know, we are here to celebrate the fact that we have 2 ecosystem hires, which is awesome. So Abe is going to Akave, and Sargent is going to Filecoin Station, which is absolutely amazing. They were hired directly right out of PLDG from the work that they were doing. Which is great. Other cohort 1 wins, we've had 130 contributions so far. Our cohort wraps up in just under a month, and we've had about 2 months so far, so that's pretty impactful. We have 39 active participants, 8 tech partners, including Akave, who we would like to welcome on board. And you can check out some stats on these live dashboards. I also included that link down below as well. Equally, I want to celebrate some of our other top contributors in cohort 1. So that's Manu, Viraj, and Nick. Viraj actually joined us, and Nick both joined us in Bangkok, which is awesome. And cohort 2 will begin January 13th. Applications are open November 25th. All right, and then FIL-Dev Bangkok. 16 of our current members traveled to Bangkok. Thank you so much to Phil Oz and Filecoin Foundation for sponsoring some of our folks. That meant that folks like Abe got to show off his CLI tool at the FIL-Dev Summit. We had an AMA at the FIL-Dev Summit as well. And we also had folks like Shushing present at IPFS Bangkok. And then cohort 2. I know this is what you guys have all been waiting for. It begins January 13th. Applications are going to be open November 25th, but you can already refer people. There's a referral link down below. So if you know anyone that would be a good fit, please, please, please refer them. I know that Manu and Nick were both referrals, and they are some of our top contributors right now. So if you know someone who might be a good fit, definitely refer them. Our application waitlist, so when applications go live on the 25th, everyone will get notified who's on that waitlist. It already has about 140 plus people on it, which is great. So we're hoping to have a cohort about 60 or so active participants. We're looking for Rust, JavaScript, Go developers, 10 to 15 hours a week. We do weekly check-ins, AMA sessions, coding demos, and we do guided support as well. So these are some ways you can get involved. And now I'm going to turn it over to Jared.
Thank you, Katie. Hey, folks, I'm Jared. If I haven't had the chance to meet you, recently joined the PLDG team, and great to be here. First, apologies for not being on brand and formatting. We were trying to add some last minute slides, how we're thinking about moving forward. And so apologies there, but throwing in some key things that we're really thinking about. You just heard from Katie share about some of the incredible momentum that's happening with PLDG right now, which is super exciting. And so for us, as we think about how do we take the next step, how do we continue to double down and meaningfully not just scale this program, but deepen the level of impact that's happening within the ecosystem. We've looked at it in two sides of the coin. The first is we have this really strong, thriving supply side of contributors, right? You just heard we have over 140 folks on our wait list, and really starting to see some folks break out in terms of the outcomes that they're producing, even within our current cohort. As we think about growing that and producing a meaningful flywheel, in focused on our contributors, we've really narrowed in and said, how can we really push folks to find that first issue so they can quickly get onboarded and quickly start contributing. One of the biggest challenges in joining a community of open source contributors is knowing where to start. Right? We are really focused on bringing structure to an unstructured experience. So that's point one. And then point two is as we're working with so many of you on this call in our technology partners, we want to also close that gap to where you're experiencing value. A lot of that is ensuring that we have inbound requirements from you. We understand what your roadmap is, where you're at, what your priorities are, what are good first issues to tackle, but also being able to help ourselves and really leverage some more tooling to help close that gap as well. So one of the things we have really been looking at is actually, if any folks have been paying attention, of converting docs into essentially like straight markdown that is able to be leveraged by AI natively in IDEs. That's something that I think we're really excited about in looking at, in order for our contributors who may know absolutely nothing about PLN or absolutely nothing about the Filecoin tech stack, about libp2p, or any of our other technology partners, to be able to get as much information as possible. So these are some of the things that we're meaningfully spending time on and thinking about moving forward, really thinking about what are some of the core pillars that we want to build around, right? As we are continuing to grow and scale this program, there's fundamentally just the foundation of what it takes to execute a great program, right? I mentioned essentially onboarding and getting folks up and running as fast as possible. We measure that in terms of time to first commit, right? That is something that's super important for us. Today, we're just hovering around 2.5 weeks. We're trying to drive that down to about 6 days or less than 6 days. The second is we also want to see folks continue on in the program and not only demonstrate impact, but be able to participate in subsequent cohorts. So we're really aiming for a high level of retention amongst our active contributors while expanding the program, but also ensuring that contributors actually have another human and another face to engage with, right? Where they're not just perhaps talking to you over GitHub comments, but actually being able to get to know our technology partners. So really trying to meaningfully think about getting more mentors, not just more technology partners, but more mentors and maintainers amongst partners involved as well. So these are some of the key things that we're thinking about, but very, very excited about the momentum to keep building and really seeing this impact come to life. And it really is our contributors, and it speaks to the quality of contributors that we've had. You heard about the 2 folks that are going to be joining the ecosystem full time. I think the reality is we're not surprised, because if you look at the data, both Serjan and Abhay have been consistent in almost 100% in their attendance, 100% in their weekly contributions. And so all of the things that we've asked them to do, they've done. And so it's really exciting to see the behaviors start to match the outcomes as well. So appreciate the time, folks. Apologies if we went a little bit over there, but Molly, we'll hand it back to you.
Awesome. Super exciting. Thanks, Jared. And I think these are some great targets and will help make sure this program continues to be a crown jewel of the Protocol Labs network. All right. I mentioned we were going to need some audience participation for this next deep dive. So everyone, make sure you have the chat open in honor of both Canadian and American Thanksgivings. I think we're in the middle of the 2 of them. Canadian was last week and American is next week. I thought we should give some thanks and some kudos across the PL network for the folks that have helped us, supported us, and the things we've gotten the opportunity to benefit from over the past year. So if you can type in the chat, I figured we could do this as threads to make this a little bit easier to organize, but we'll share these back with the whole community as well. Can you first write kudos to one person in the network in the past year who's gone out of their way to help you, who you just want to send a little bit of love, a little bit of thanks to, who's helped make your life better, helped you solve a problem? I'll give you a second to think about it. Drop in some thoughts. All right, if you've typed that one, you can start on the next one. What's one thing you're grateful for about the PL network? And last one, what is one thing you're going to do to pay that gratitude forward? Help someone across the network, help fix something, keep making things better than we found them. All right, as folks continue to type, anyone have anything that wasn't covered? We had a slightly lighter agenda today. Anything that we missed? Apologies. There was lots of travel coming back from Bangkok. anything that folks want to shout out and call out as something cool that's happening across the network folks should pay attention to? All right, well, feel free to keep typing. We're going to wrap up here. Thank you guys so much for attending. If you'd like to present next time, please reach out to us. We would love to have more presentations, maybe about cool things PLDG folks are working on, or some updates from other PL Network projects. So get in touch, EngResAdmin@Protocol AI, and we'd love to include you. We'll have one more for the end of year, holiday edition, EngRes Gathering, looking back on 2024 and all that was accomplished. So also project updates reflect a bit. What are all of the things to recap and celebrate from this past year, or learn from if things didn't go as planned? And as a reminder, please don't wait for the future to happen. Build it together. That's what this network is here and all about. And we'd love to work on this all together. Oh yeah, I'm so sorry for missing that, Clara. Great call out. Huge congrats to Gainforest. So exciting, winning the X Prize for fighting climate change. Fantastic. Should have totally been on here. It's a great shout out, and huge congrats to the team over there who's been, fighting the hard fight against fossil fuels and bringing more carbon sequestration into the world, and building on Filecoin as part of it. Pretty freaking awesome. Amazing. Okay, we're going to collect up all of these wonderful kudos and love and share them with all of the humans that you have called out. Thank you guys so much. Very grateful to get to spend once a month with all of you, counting down some of the cool stuff that's happening in our space. But have a wonderful end of your November. Celebrate some thanks if you celebrate. And otherwise, we'll see you all in December. Happy holidays.